drinking every night and doing all this and beat you.
Yeah, it's bad.
If you look at the fight, he was much slower. He only threw a hook. Like,
Gervonta Davis has finally broken his silence with the most savage reaction to Jake Paul's devastating knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. And what Tank is saying about Jake's broken jaw and missing teeth has the entire boxing world in complete shock. The WBA lightweight champion didn't hold back when he saw the hospital photos of Jake Paul's completely shattered face. And sources from Davis's camp confirm he's been laughing non-stop since watching Joshua destroy the YouTuber on Friday night in Miami. Savage reaction. The actual damage Jake Paul suffered is far worse than most people realize, and the medical details are absolutely horrifying. According to multiple reports from Miami University Hospital, Jake Paul required immediate emergency surgery after the fight, and doctors had to work through the night to repair the extensive damage Anthony Joshua inflicted.
Jake Paul got knocked out by Anthony Joshua this past Friday night, and so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over 25 years of experience, and so, what happens is when you get hit in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull, and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain.
Sources close to Paul's medical team confirm that the surgery lasted over 4 hours, with surgeons inserting 2 titanium plates on each side of his jaw just to stabilize the fractures. One medical insider revealed, the impact from Joshua's final right hand was so powerful that it completely shattered both sides of Jake's mandible simultaneously. We rarely see this kind of damage except in major car accidents. This statement puts into perspective just how devastating Anthony Joshua's punching power really is, and why so many boxing experts warned Jake Paul that fighting a legitimate heavyweight champion was suicidal.
But it causes repeated trauma to the brain. And over years and years of this happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia, like Alzheimer's disease.
But the broken jaw wasn't even the worst part of Jake's injuries, and what doctors discovered during surgery has made the situation even more gruesome. Medical reports indicate that Jake Paul lost a total of 7 teeth during the fight, with several more becoming loose and requiring immediate extraction to prevent infection. Paul himself confirmed the dental damage in another Instagram post, writing, 2 titanium plates on each side, some teeth removed, have to have only liquids for 7 days. This brutal reality of heavyweight boxing has shocked Jake's fanbase, many of whom had genuinely believed their hero could compete at the highest levels of the sport.
私は少しめちゃくちゃだけど、あなたは永遠に私を大事にしてくれますか?
Jake Paul gets his jaw broken. Not only that, but he gets his lower jaw broken from the right and the left side. So both sides. And not only this, following that, he went through an emergency surgery procedure to get that sorted out, and titanium plates were inserted to help stabilize the case. This will take long to fully heal.
The boxing community has been split between those showing sympathy for Jake's injuries and those saying he got exactly what he deserved for constantly calling out real fighters. Now, here's where the story gets absolutely wild. Gervonta Davis has been watching this entire situation unfold with what sources describe as pure entertainment and satisfaction. Tank was supposed to fight Jake Paul in November before legal issues canceled their bout, and many believe Davis is secretly relieved he didn't have to face the YouTube star under the specific conditions Paul's team had demanded.
A couple of times, pushed down on the back of his neck, pushed down on the back of his head, got him to the ground. There was a few times where Jake looked like he was going for a takedown. Again, that was Jake trying to engage in the clinch, and AJ smartly moved back. In one instance, I think it was the 5th round, Jake engaged for a clinch, AJ moved back and started punching down.
According to insiders close to Davis, Tank has been sending messages in private group chats absolutely roasting Jake Paul for the injuries and the knockout loss. One person from Tank's inner circle revealed, Gervonta saw those hospital pictures and literally couldn't stop laughing for 20 minutes straight. He kept saying, I told y'all this clown wasn't ready for real boxing. These private comments have started leaking onto social media through various boxing channels and fan accounts, creating massive controversy about whether Davis is being disrespectful or just speaking the truth.
to Anthony Joshua sleeping Jake and breaking his jaw in 2 different places, along with breaking his teeth. Gervonta joined the fun with the rest of the boxing community by throwing a meme on Jake Paul. That was his reaction, as you guys see above.
Many fans believe Tank has every right to mock Jake Paul after the YouTuber spent months publicly insulting Davis and calling him unprofessional following the cancellation of their scheduled November fight. The bad blood between these two has been building for months, and Jake Paul's brutal loss to Anthony Joshua has given Gervonta Davis the perfect ammunition to fire back at all the disrespect. The most shocking part of Tank's reaction came when sources say he started comparing Jake Paul's injuries to what would have happened if they had actually fought in November.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be
People close to Davis claim he's been telling everyone in his camp that Jake got off easy fighting Anthony Joshua instead of facing him. One training partner of Tank's shared, Gervonta keeps saying that AJ at least finished it quick and clean. Tank said if they had fought, he would have made Jake suffer for all 12 rounds before knocking him out just to teach him a lesson. These comments have sparked massive debate online, with many boxing analysts pointing out that Tank Davis at 135 pounds would never have been able to inflict the kind of physical damage that Anthony Joshua did at 243 pounds. However, Tank's supporters argue that his precision and speed would have caused Jake even more problems than Joshua's power, and the fight would have been far more embarrassing for Paul.
Down on Jake's back. So all of those things kind of deteriorated or emptied Jake's gas tank a lot earlier than I think he expected it to. But overall, I thought he deployed his game plan well for the first 5 rounds and actually had some success. He even moved AJ back a few times. 1, by just jabbing in the air, and 2, when he caught him, he moved it.
The reality is that we'll never know what would have happened between Tank and Jake, but the canceled fight continues to be one of the biggest what-ifs in recent boxing history. Jake Paul had originally called out Gervonta Davis back in August 2025, and the two camps worked for months to put together an exhibition fight for November in Miami. The press conference in September was awkward and uncomfortable, with Davis showing little enthusiasm for the matchup, and Paul making controversial comments about Tank's reading abilities and legal troubles. Davis called Paul a clown during the press conference, while Jake kept bringing up Tank's history of legal issues, creating an extremely hostile atmosphere between the two fighters. Then in late October, just weeks before the scheduled fight, Davis's ex-girlfriend filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of battery, false imprisonment, and kidnapping. Most Valuable Promotions immediately canceled the fight, and Jake Paul went on a massive social media rant, absolutely destroying Tank's character and reputation. Paul wrote on X, "Gervonta Davis is an actual walking human piece of garbage. Working with him is an absolute nightmare. The unprofessionalism, the bizarre requests, the showing up hours late to shoots. If you support this man, you support the most vile sin a man can commit."
Yeah, he just represents everything that's wrong with boxing, unprofessionalism, and he's getting what he's reaping what he sows. But I hate working with people like that. He stands everyone up, film crews, everything, doesn't do any promotion.
These harsh words from Jake created permanent bad blood between the two fighters, and Tank has been waiting for the perfect moment to get his revenge ever since. Gervonta Davis initially stayed silent about the cancellation, but earlier in December he finally broke his silence and fired back at Jake Paul's claims.
Jake Paul was knocked out in round 6 and suffered 2 fractures to his left jaw. Here's the moment that did it.
Chin served on a platter for that right hand right there. And look at Jake Paul's face.
There's no way I can share the actual injury here. It's a bit too gruesome as the camera was put inside Jake's mouth and his teeth were actually not in a straight line. They were separated from the others as the jaw deviated. The question is though, what kind of recovery process Jake would be
According to multiple reports, Davis claimed that Jake Paul actually called off the fight because he was getting beaten up badly in sparring, not because of Tank's legal issues. Tank posted and then deleted several messages on social media, including one that read, "MVP couldn't uphold nothing. Al Heyman had to come in to take over everything. MVP is garbage. Y'all run nothing at Netflix." These deleted posts added fuel to the fire and made it clear that Tank Davis has zero respect for Jake Paul or his promotional company. Now, with Jake lying in a hospital bed with a shattered jaw and missing teeth, Tank finally has the ultimate proof that his warnings about Jake not being ready for real boxing were completely accurate.
AJ came right back in and swung, but he did move him back.
When this fight was first announced, you said to several media members that initially you weren't down for this fight. You thought it was just a little bit too much too soon, to paraphrase. Did he do better? Did Jake do better than you thought? Result aside, obviously you wanted him to win. You thought, I think by the end, that he was going to win, but did he actually do better than you thought initially?
The savage nature of Tank's reaction has created a massive divide in the boxing community, with different groups having completely opposite takes on whether his behavior is acceptable. Traditional boxing purists have actually been siding with Gervonta Davis, arguing that Jake Paul brought this on himself by constantly disrespecting professional fighters and treating boxing like a joke. One longtime boxing journalist commented, "Jake Paul spent years calling out legitimate champions, mocking their skills, and pretending he belonged in their league. Now he's learned a very painful lesson. Tank has every right to say, 'I told you so.'"
And doesn't do any posts, but it is what it is. I'm actually glad this all happened this way so that he doesn't get, the biggest paycheck of his life and just continues to be a piece of shit.
The Ring 4, November 22nd. Watch only on DAZN.
To humble Jake Paul and expose the limitations of his boxing skills. However, Jake Paul's massive fan base has fired back at Tank Davis with equal intensity, accusing him of being a coward who's hiding behind legal issues instead of proving himself in the ring. One viral tweet supporting Jake read, "At least Jake Paul had the balls to fight Anthony Joshua. Tank Davis stays fighting guys half his size and then talks trash when real fighters get hurt."
Yeah, just a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'm gonna beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know.
This counter-argument has gained significant traction, especially among younger fans who see Jake as a fearless warrior for taking such a dangerous fight on short notice. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Jake Paul showed genuine heart by facing serious questions about his boxing future and whether he'll ever be the same fighter again. Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, told ESPN after the fight, "Hats off to Jake. A broken jaw is really difficult to come back from, but that last shot AJ hit him with would have knocked out a lot of heavyweights." This statement acknowledges Jake's toughness, while also confirming that the damage was severe and could have long-lasting effects on his career.
Right, listen, respect to Jake. He was a tough guy in there. Obviously, he moved a lot and made it difficult for AJ. And AJ's been out of the ring for a while. He's a bit rusty. It took him time to just get hold of him, but I was impressed with Jake. And listen, as I said to Nagisa, at the end of the day, he took shots that a lot of people would have got knocked clean out by, especially at the end, So,
Was it frustrating for you to watch?
No, I mean, maybe, obviously, when someone's moving like that,
Doctors familiar with jaw fractures have explained that Jake's specific injury, bilateral mandibular fractures requiring titanium plates, typically requires 6 to 8 months of recovery before contact sports can be resumed. Some medical experts believe Jake could be sidelined for the entire year of 2026, which would completely derail his momentum and promotional plans. The dental work alone will take months to complete properly, with Jake needing extensive reconstructive work to replace the 7 teeth he lost during the fight.
Respect to Jake Paul that we took a few rounds to get going because Jake was moving a lot and holding a lot, and it was difficult to nail him clean, I think. But eventually AJ took his time, cut him off and smashed him about. And listen, respect to Jake Paul, because that last shot, I know he broke his shattered his jaw, but it would have knocked most heavyweights out, so I've got to give him credit.
I was going to say, in the end, are you pleased with that? Because obviously everyone was saying...
We'll argue that. He at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. That's toughness. Most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him, is 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
One oral surgeon explained, "Losing 7 teeth from impact trauma is extremely serious. He'll need implants, bone grafting, and probably multiple surgeries over the next year. These long-term consequences have made Tank Davis's mockery seem even more cruel to some observers, while others argue that Jake knew the risks when he signed the contract. The aftermath of this fight has completely changed the narrative around Jake Paul's boxing career and forced everyone to reconsider what his future in the sport actually looks like. Anthony Joshua himself acknowledged Jake's bravery during the post-fight press conference, saying, "Jake did well while it lasted. I take my hat off to him because a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me, and Jake did."
And when they're rugby tackling you, but he had to do what he had to do to survive, and he did that. So, it's very difficult to go in like, out the ring for 14 months and just be razor sharp with a guy running. And so, probably 2 or 3 rounds more than expected. But fair play to Jake Paul. He was a lot tougher than I thought, and he took a lot more shots than I thought he could.
What did AJ tell you inside the ring about the fighter?
Joshua even suggested Jake could still have a future in boxing, potentially against fighters more his size like Gervonta Davis or Ryan Garcia in 2026. This opened the door for a potential Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight to be rescheduled once Jake recovers, which would arguably be even bigger now after all the drama. The question is whether Jake Paul will actually want to face Tank Davis after experiencing the brutal reality of getting hit by Anthony Joshua.
Wicked fight. Respect to Jake Paul for taking the fight. Took a heavy shot. But you know what? What a fantastic fight he put on. But big well done to AJ. We knew from day one AJ was going to do it. But the better fighter was going to win.
People said that Jake Paul was running. Do you feel like he ran or do you like...
I mean, against someone like AJ, AJ's a big guy, strong guy, and he can hurt you. So yeah, 100%, like, he's going to want to avoid his power, but you know what? He got caught in the corner and bang, he was out.
Jake's own words after the fight suggested he might be rethinking his entire approach to boxing. "I'm going to come back and fight people my weight and go for the Cruiserweight World Championship at some point," Paul said. "I'm going to take a little break." This statement suggests Jake finally understands that he has no business fighting at heavyweight. Social media has been absolutely flooded with memes and jokes about Jake's broken jaw and missing teeth, with Tank's fans leading the charge in trolling the YouTuber.
Or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters.
One viral meme shows Jake's pre-fight trash talk next to the hospital photos with the caption "Before and after meeting real boxing," which has been shared millions of times. Another popular post shows Tank Davis laughing with the text, "When you dodge a fight and then watch your replacement do exactly what you would have done." These jokes have frustrated Jake's fanbase, who feel that Tank is being disrespectful to someone who just went through serious physical trauma. The harsh reality is that trash talk and mockery are part of combat sports, especially when fighters have been insulting each other for months. As Jake recovers over the coming months with his jaw wired shut and missing teeth being replaced, he'll have plenty of time to reflect on whether continuing his boxing career is worth the risks.
We'll argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him, is 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, my brother.
Meanwhile, Tank Davis continues to sit at the top of the lightweight division, watching his name trend as everyone debates whether he would have done even worse damage than Anthony Joshua. The only way we'll ever know for sure is if Jake Paul fully recovers and decides to run back their canceled fight sometime in 2026 or 2027.
Have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron, is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological.
Until then, the boxing world will keep debating, and Tank Davis will keep laughing at the brutal karma that Jake Paul received for months of disrespecting real professional fighters. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.